Melinda, just further discussion in regards to As Good as Gold women. What I'd love to do is find out a little more about you, your personal journey. Now, you were the second child of 6 children, sometimes struggling to find your own voice. How was your upbringing? Tell me a little about that.
Oh, it was a traditional, father went out to work, mother stayed home, raised the children. Children should be seen and not heard. We had fun with mum when dad wasn't home, but when dad was home, we had to toe the line and keep quiet. We weren't wealthy at all. In fact, we struggled quite a bit to the point where there was no private education, and if we had outside interests, we weren't really allowed to be involved in them because of the financial pressure and strain that put on the family. But we were very big sport. The whole family was involved in sport.
But for a little girl growing up in the household, what happened when there were conversations around money? And as you said, it wasn't always available.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't privy to conversations about money other than, no, we can't afford it.
Right.
No, we can't afford it. So I grew up thinking that we couldn't afford it.
Right. And then you find yourself married with someone from a Greek background. What do you think the cultural background experience has been in terms of being an influence on you from a financial perspective?
It was quite big.
Yeah?
Yeah. My father having all daughters, I think, and he may beg to differ, but I believe that he didn't really put as much effort into helping us understand the financial world.
Because you were girls?
We were girls, and so therefore we will marry someone else, and then we will be their problem. And I say problem because that was sort of the words that were used at the time. So I call it the Cinderella syndrome, growing up with that ideal that I don't have to really worry about anything,
because you'll find a man...
I'll find my prince or my knight in shining armour, and he'll look after me forever after, and everything will be good.
So you found your prince, so to speak?
I thought I did, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I did, and I didn't have to worry financially.
And this went on for a while?
We were together for 20 plus years, correct.
And at what point did you have a realisation, if at all, about your personal understanding about finances?
Well, I was raising children and trying to work out myself a fair bit, so I wasn't too concerned about my finances, other than the obvious, and that was, what am I going to do for work if I ever had to go out and work? Because I didn't have a trade, I didn't have a career before being a mother and a wife, so I felt a little bit stuck.
The next circumstance in your life was that the marriage was no longer. So what happened there? That must have been a huge realisation of, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
With 3 children?
Well, it took me a long time to get the courage to start off with, to actually venture off on my own, because I had the constant reminder when I looked around that, I had a beautiful home, and I really didn't see a bill in the years that I was married, and
never ever looked after any bills.
I didn't even pay
finances.
for the petrol that went in my car.
Right.
It was all taken care of.
Right.
Everything was taken care of.
And now you're alone with the two children?
2 children initially, yeah.
And what happened there?
It was a big wake-up call, quite a slap in the face. And so there I was, sitting on a cold, bare floor with no furniture, with 2 little girls, wondering how I'm going to look after my car. I didn't know a mechanic, I didn't know anything about cars, I just felt a little bit overwhelmed.
I would think hugely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other women who can relate to that as well.
And only getting some finances from the government was, all I had.
Yeah, yeah. You had mentioned previously to me that one thing you desired is to be your own bank. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah, I do.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we go to the bank and we take our earnings and give it over to the bank, and then it seems like a lot of struggle and jumping through hoops to be able to get any of it back. And you feel like, well, that's my money, I should be able to have it when and how I like. And then they go and play with it on the stock markets and they make a lot of money doing so. And what do I get for letting you do that? I've got to prove myself every single time I walk in there and ask for anything. So I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. So I wanted to have control over my money. And I felt empowered when I thought about it. So, and it's fun. It's fun to do that.
So investing in gold and silver feels like you've got your own bank?
Absolutely. I can take it out, I can do what I want with it, when I want with it, how I want with it, and I don't have to answer to anybody.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Just on that issue that you was talking about, I want to be my own bank, what other advantages does having gold and silver have being your own bank?
The safety factor. The security of knowing that whatever happens to our currency, whatever happens economically around the world, I've got my little stash that's safe and no one can touch it except me.
Security is a huge issue for you.
Security is big.
Of course.
Yeah.
One more thing, I'm just curious, if you knew what you know now, Melinda, back then when you were, say, in the marriage or struggling with the small children, would you have invested in precious metals yourself?
Yes.
Would you have told your partner?
No. What I know now, no.
Right.
And I wouldn't tell my future partner either.
I see.
If I had one.
So that's set in stone?
Yeah.
Because we can do that.
Yeah.
We can squirrel away a little bit of money, maybe a silver coin per week, per month, and it's ours. Looking after our own financial future.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Let's do so. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.